Okay, you likely clicked on this video for a reason, or maybe someone sent it to you. Maybe you're just a friend of mine and supporting my channel, in which case, thanks. But maybe you're having a hard day. Maybe you feel completely overwhelmed. Maybe your anxiety is getting to you. Or maybe you're just drained. Whatever it is, I want to help. So today we're going to talk about a resilience skill that isn't going to solve your problems, but it is going to help you get back on your feet. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to Black, White, Gray, Yellow. My name is Diana. This is the third video in my series on resilience and the first one on a specific skill. For context, this series loosely follows the structure of the U.S. Army's Master Resilience Training, or MRT program, for which I am a certified Master Resilience Trainer. I also spent 13 months as my state's State Resilience Coordinator. Now, of course, I want to be respectful to this program, which means I can't teach the proprietary material, so I've put everything in my own words based on the underlying research throughout this series, and even expanded upon the course material with further research, so you can share these videos freely. Today, I'm going to talk about the skill that is perhaps best known amongst those who are taught the MRT material, and the one that I think is most often misunderstood, so we'll take some time to explore it together today. The goal of this skill is to build optimism. Remember, we talked about that one a lot in the last video, by fighting the negativity bias. Remember, the negativity bias is the natural human tendency such that we're more likely to notice the negative things than the positive things. And even when we do notice the positive things, we're much more likely to remember the negative ones. And even when we do remember the positive ones, we're much more likely to consider the negative ones more significant. And even if something positive is significant, we're far less likely to dwell on it. Of course, from an evolutionary standpoint, this makes sense. It's better to be negative than to be dead, so better err on the side of caution. But this is only good so long as it is helpful. Remember, we talked about that too. There can come a point when sometimes we are too focused on the negative, to the point that it is no longer helpful. And this is when it helps to have a skill that fights that negativity and brings us back to seeing the world accurately. I want to emphasize that seeing the world accurately is really what this skill is about, because this is often the part that is misunderstood. What we're actually going to do is enumerate some positive things going on around us. Look for the less bad things. The MRT program calls it hunt the good stuff. I'm going to call it look for the good. As an example of what this can look like, I'll share a personal story. When I was a kid, before I would go to bed, I used to write down 10 things from the day that had made me smile. And I made the distinction. They had to be genuine smiles, not sarcastic smiles or mean smiles. But it was okay if they were very, very small smiles. If you want to try this, it doesn't have to be 10, 5, or 3, or even 1 is an okay place to start. And it doesn't have to be at bedtime. It can be any time you're feeling overwhelmed with negativity. The goal is not to ignore all those bad things or pretend they don't exist. This is often where people get it wrong. The goal is not necessarily to turn negatives into positives either, although finding a silver lining in a storm cloud is certainly an option. The goal is more to yes and the universe. Yes, there are these bad things, and there are also these good things too. Good might not outweigh or even balance out the bad, but remember that the goal is to see the world accurately. When it feels like the world is crashing down around us, it can be very difficult to make rational decisions that help us get out of feeling that way. But if we can see the world accurately, even if the picture is bleak, we are much more likely to be able to take purposeful action to help our situation. And that's resilience. One of the books I've read that talked most persuasively about this concept, that the focus on positive, even in a bleak situation, results in people feeling empowered rather than despair, is called Broadcasting Happiness by Michelle Gielan, who began her career as a news anchor and went on to found the Institute for Applied Positive Research. Links to both are in the description. Maybe we'll talk more about her and her book in a future video. Now, of course, one of the other benefits of positive thinking and finding these good things that make you smile is that it helps build positive emotions. This is significant because research by Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, most famous for her broaden and build theory of positive emotions, which we can absolutely dive into in another video, shows us that positive emotions can actually counteract the physiological effects of negative emotions. What does that mean? Well, how does stress make you feel physically? Tight chest, rapid heart rate, sweaty palms, shallow breathing? Yeah, well, eliciting positive emotions doesn't just result from calming down. It can actually cause you to calm down faster than you otherwise would. How nice is it to effectively have an antidote to stress? Again, thinking positive thoughts won't necessarily solve whatever problem caused the stress in the first place, but a little bit of self regulation, remember we talked about that in the last video too, can help us deal with that problem more effectively. A fair amount of research has also been done on the related skill of gratitude journaling, showing that this behavior can lead to better sleep, better health, better relationships, lower depression, greater life satisfaction, and more optimal performance in sports. Here are just a few specifics. Dr. Robert Emmons, PhD of the University of California, Davis, spent much of his career studying gratitude journaling. In his most famous paper, a 2003 study with Dr. Michael McCullough, PhD of the University of Miami, found that compared to individuals who reported either hassles or neutral life events, individuals who reported 5 things they were grateful for felt better about their lives, experienced increased positive affect, were more optimistic about their expectations for the week, experienced improved amounts and quality of sleep, reported increased time spent exercising, and reported fewer physical complaints. On his own website, Dr. Emmons boasts that a related benefit was observed in the realm of personal goal attainment. Participants who kept gratitude lists were more likely to have made progress toward important personal goals, academic, interpersonal, and health-based, over a 2-month period compared to subjects in the other experimental conditions. And a daily gratitude intervention, as a self-guided exercise, with young adults resulted in higher reported levels of the positive states of alertness, enthusiasm, determination, attentiveness, and energy compared to a focus on hassles or downward comparison, which means ways in which a participant thought they were better than others. But Dr. Emmons isn't the only one who studied gratitude journaling. A group of researchers led by Dr. Martin Seligman, PhD, the father of positive psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, found in a study comparing different positive psychology interventions that participants who recorded 3 good things each night were found to have significant increase in happiness and experience less depression for up to 6 months following. And for the brevity of this video, I'm going to cut the list off there, but I hope I have successfully supported the point that gratitude and positive thinking can have real, measurable positive effects on your lives beyond just feeling good. And some of those positive effects, like improved sleep, can absolutely help us solve our problems more effectively. So even when things look bad, there is value in looking for the good. Okay. But to really do this skill right, it's about more than just noticing the good stuff. Remember that our negativity bias runs deep, and even when we do notice good things, we're much more likely to dwell on the negative and find it more significant. So let's take some time to really dwell on the positive too. For each of the things you identify, take a minute to reflect on why this good thing happened, what it means to you, what you can do in the future to get more of this good thing, and or in what ways you or others contributed to this good thing happening. So in short, life just sucks. I didn't ask to be born, now all I'm doing is dying, and there isn't anything anyone in the world can do about that. Wow, that's a pretty pessimistic view of things. I'm really sorry you're having a hard time. I don't want to belittle any of the negative experiences you're having, but maybe things would seem a little bit less dire or overwhelming if we took some time to dwell on the positive things going on in your life too. There are no positive things. All my life is darkness. Okay, Batman. But you do still have me, a friend that cares and listens to you, someone determined to try to put a smile on your face. Not everyone is so lucky. No offense, but your friendship doesn't exactly outweigh all the crap I'm dealing with right now. Well, of course not. It's not really a comparison. But you are better off with a friend than you would be completely friendless, right? Fine. And think about where you live. If you ask for help, I know there are places where you can get support from your community. Not to mention, you're still very lucky to have full use of your body. You aren't deaf, dumb, blind, or paralyzed.
It might not feel like much, but if you think about how things could be worse, there's still a lot to be grateful for.
What's your point? Telling me that I should feel lucky right now isn't exactly making me feel better. You're just adding guilt to every other crappy feeling I have right now.
And I promise I will leave you to sulk here in a minute, but my purpose in putting this out is to empower you. When all the world is against you, you feel powerless, but now you begrudgingly have to admit that there are a lot of resources at your disposal. The path might suck, but you have a road to a better place, metaphorically, and you've got me to walk beside you the whole way. The good may not outweigh the bad, but I think you can make the most helpful decisions for yourself when you take accurate stock of everything you've got. And you've thoroughly inventoried all the bad already, so I'm just making sure you see the good too. That's just the best way to move forward from where you are.
You're really annoying, you know that? I can't even brood in peace. What did I ever do to deserve your cheery disposition? That isn't a compliment. Fine. I guess I can think of a few things that I could do to at least start the process of making today a little bit better. But I'm going to curse you under my breath the whole time I'm doing it.
I love you too.
That's all for this video. In the next video, we'll go over another resilience skill. If you want a notification as soon as that video comes out, click the bell icon or subscribe for quick access to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and tell me in the comments one or more good things that happened to you today or things that you're grateful for. And if you haven't seen it already, be sure to check out this video on the 6 things resilient people have. Until next time, my name is Diana, and this has been Black, White, Gray, Yellow.